The creation of androids 17 and 18 is by far Dr. Gero's biggest mistake. Not only did they end up killing him, but they turned the entire future into a graveyard. All because their cyborg programming gave them the free will to choose this on their own. But was it actually possible for Trunks and Gohan to destroy this deadly duo without time travel? Well, before we answer that, we have a message from commercial Qaaman. Today's video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. If you're someone who is tired of expensive cutesy games that drain your life away, Raid is the game for you. With realistic graphics, Raid is a go-to choice for gamers seeking the RPG of their dreams. Personally, Kyle is my go-to choice for a starting champion, but let's not leave out the fact that you have over 300 choices for champions to choose from. Raid is available for iOS and Android, giving gamers from all backgrounds their preferred choice to play. So stop wasting time. Check out the links in the description and you will get up to 100,000 free silver, an energy refill, a 1-day XP booster, and the Executioner as a free champion. This only lasts 30 days, so make sure you join soon. As I'm Commercial Qaaman, and I will be seeing you on Raid. But once again, we are not alone as we are joined with Blackenfist.
Hello there, beautiful friends, I'm Blackenfist, and one thing they could have done was direct Gohan, Trunks, or Bulma to the location of New Namek. Now, King Kai is going to be a common denominator in a lot of these reasons, but it's pretty clear that for whatever reason, King Kai did not remain in contact with Gohan, Bulma, or Trunks during the future timeline. Once New Namek is located, one of the most obvious things they can do is wish back the fighters that died in the fight against the androids. And of course, if Piccolo is ever resurrected, that would mean that the Earth's Dragon Balls once again would be active. But even if the Earth Dragon Balls are somehow not very useful in the conflict to the androids, Piccolo assimilating with Kami might be. Remember, when Piccolo assimilated with Kami in the series, he became, for a very short period of time, the strongest character in the series. And the Piccolo that had assimilated Kami was at the very least as strong, if not a bit stronger than 17. And remember that the androids from the main timeline were stronger than the ones in the future timeline. So, it would be safe to say that if Piccolo assimilated with Kami, then Piccolo by himself would have been able to take out the androids at that point. And if they ever needed another set of Dragon Balls with the location of New Namek, they could always bring back Dende to be the new Guardian of the Earth. Having access to the Dragon Balls also gives them the option of wishing to know where the location of Dr. Gero's laboratory was. Even with a destroyed Gero's laboratory, there was also the matter of his secret laboratory. And if they at least know the location of his own laboratory, there is a chance of them bumping into a secret laboratory, which, if they find that, they can find schematics of androids 17 and 18, which in turn could be very helpful to Bulma, just as in the real series where she constructed a deactivation remote based off the schematics that were found in Gero's secret laboratory. Let's also not forget Cell, who would also be in the secret laboratory along with the schematics. They could easily snuff him out even before he has a chance to even harm anybody. So when you factor in all the options that the heroes have just by locating New Namek, the defeat of the androids just seems inevitable.
But as we move on to number 2, we have the 1-day pass. Now, as we remember from the Buu arc, Goku was given permission to stay on Earth for a day after all of his good deeds on planet Earth, and was given a day to spend time with his family and participate in the World Tournament. And when we factor in that 13 years passed in the future timeline, Goku would have still had a lot of good deeds built up throughout his life to be given a day to go back to planet Earth. Because of this, Goku along with his friends could easily return to fight against the androids after many years of training in the afterlife. And when you think about it, even if Goku was a lot weaker than he originally would be, Goku with 13 years of training would be more than enough to defeat the weaker androids of the future timeline. And when you think about it, a character like Piccolo would definitely want to get his revenge against the androids when you consider that they killed him. And even if Piccolo returns for a day, Kami would return for a day, and if they return for a day in Fuse, that's also another character that could once again fight against the androids. And I know that many of you are probably wondering about Vegeta, but what we must remember is that Vegeta might actually be in hell in this timeline as opposed to what we originally knew. Remember, the Vegeta of the future timeline doesn't have as good of a reputation for his good deeds the way that the present timeline Vegeta did. And as a result of this, Vegeta would have never have been seen again, not to mention that since Goku would have been in the afterlife, there's a very good chance that he would have learned fusion during this time. And even if our characters would be naturally weaker than the androids, a fusion between Goku and possibly Future Gohan, if he really suppressed his power level, would have been more than enough to stop the androids. So this just gives us more options in taking them down.
Climbing up to number 3. Training by better means. The go-to training method that one first thinks of is of course the hyperbolic time chamber. However, this chamber was never really mentioned that often in the future timeline, and there's also a strong implication that Kami's lookout potentially could have been destroyed in the android's rampage. However, if it wasn't, and the chamber is intact, that is certainly a method that Gohan and Trunks can use in order for them to defeat the androids. The next method of training, which is most expedient, is of course using the gravity room. The gravity room is definitely a technology that has been used in the past, even in the future timeline, and it's definitely something that Bulma is aware of. Now, of course, there is the possibility with this again, Bulma might not have access to the resources needed to construct the gravity room in the future timeline. But even in that case, there is still one other option left, which is training in the afterlife. Now, once again, this is another barrier, but it could easily be solved with one thing. Now, of course, in our scenario, King Kai remained in contact with the Earth, which makes logical sense. And with his help, not only could he locate New Namek, but he definitely would be able to locate the planet Yardrat, from where Goku learned how to use the instant transmission. You have to remember that even in the future timeline, Goku used the instant transmission to get to Earth before Frieza could harm anybody or blow the planet up. So with the knowledge of Yardrat, either Gohan or Trunks could learn the instant transmission technique, allowing them to go to the afterlife. Once they're in the afterlife, they can receive all sorts of training there, either from King Kai or perhaps even the Grand Kai himself. With that under their belts, the androids are doomed.
But as we move on to number 4, we have the secret weapon, the Mafuba. Now, if we go back to original Dragon Ball, the Mafuba was a technique that was specifically designed to only be used against demons, which is why Master Mutaito originally used it on King Piccolo to steal him away, and why both Master Roshi and Tien also wanted to use this technique on King Piccolo afterwards. But one thing Dragon Ball Super has retconned is the fact that the Mafuba can essentially be used on any character, as Master Roshi was using it in the Tournament of Power, and also he taught Goku how to do it during the Zamasu arc. So as a result of this, if the Mafuba is able to be used on anybody, both Gohan and Trunks could go to Master Roshi's house, master the Mafuba, and use it to seal both androids, and you would have 3 characters that could all be a threat to put the android threat down. But I know what many of you guys are wondering. How do you even know if Master Roshi is still alive? Well, when we think about it, there are 3 versions of Trunks' future. You have the History of Trunks TV special, you have the History of Trunks manga adaptation, and you also have the flashback episode called A Ghost from Tomorrow. Master Roshi wasn't seen in the manga, and Master Roshi wasn't seen in the flashback A Ghost from Tomorrow, but he was seen in the History of Trunks TV special. So as a result of it, since most of us accept the TV special as the canon of the Trunks' timeline, then we're going to go with the anime adaptation, which is where Master Roshi was alive. But the question is, would this actually work on the androids? And the answer to this is yes. Why do we say this? Overconfidence. The androids, especially in the future timeline, have been known to be extremely juvenile-like characters with their overconfidence. So if Gohan, some kid, and an old man show up, would you really expect the androids to think that they would be able to defeat them? The answer is no. And that overconfidence is all Gohan, Trunks, and Master Roshi would need to seal them away in the Mafuba. And as a result of this, doing this technique would save the future timeline.
Congratulations! If you made it this far, you've unlocked our bonus round. And in this round, we'll discuss one peculiar way for Gohan to eliminate the android threat and return everything to normal.
So let's spit it out, Blackenfist. What is this unique method to save the world?
Well, Gohan could just do the android's job for them. Destroy the Earth. And how would that help exactly? Well, with contact with King Kai and therefore contact with New Namek, after the destruction of Earth, they could just wish everybody back. Without the androids this time.
And you know what's the saddest part about all of this, Blackenfist? There really are no flaws with this method. It's just a method that we don't like.
I guess you could say it offends our narrative sensibilities. But pragmatically, I think it's pretty rock solid.
And for those of you who are going to say, oh, well, the Namekian Dragon Balls can only wish one person back at a time, just remember that the Namekians had already reprogrammed the Dragon Balls after the catastrophe with Frieza, so they could definitely wish people back in the masses. And while we're on the subject of future timelines, you're definitely going to want to check out the Future Trunks amusement theory that Blackenfist and I did, in addition to what if Trunks and Mai never left the present timeline. And last but not least, you're also going to want to hear Operation Future Trunks to hear more about his character. And until next time, stay cool and stay safe, my friends.
Of course, I've been Blackenfist, and I'm out, man.